Hey YouTube, Awesome Writer here. Welcome to my latest episode review for King-ohger. So, where we left off, we found out Rackley's is alive as the new king, or like kind of king that's, under the thumb of the villains, and all the kingdoms are ruled by these various villain factions. And we pick up where we left off, but we get out of there rather quickly as Jeremy takes Gear out of there before he can attack him, and we kind of rush out of there, which I was kind of surprised by. I don't know if I thought the whole episode was going to be about Rackley's, but I assumed we would get a little bit of answers before we headed into whatever this week's episode was. But we definitely went out of there really quick, and I don't recall us seeing Rackley's for the rest of the episode. I was hoping to get a little bit more out of that, even if we didn't focus on Rackley's right away, but it still wound up being a pretty good episode. Last week I mentioned how when we set up this new status quo with the villains, each of the kingdom, kind of set up this almost video gamey, like, let's go kingdom to kingdom for the bosses type of bit. And I was hoping we would do that, because it sounds like it could be interesting, an opportunity to focus on how the kingdom has changed, how the characters have changed, because I felt that was a missed opportunity when Season 2 started, where they just glossed right over that. So I was glad that it seems we're doing that to a degree. Like, not only this week did we visit Blue's kingdom and face that boss, but we didn't fully solve it, which I wasn't expecting. Like, I honestly thought maybe they'd spend an episode or two. I was going to say maybe next week they'll solve it, but we know we're doing Yellow's kingdom next week. But you know what I mean? I thought that they would spend an episode or two on it and then it would be solved. But not only did we focus on it, but we didn't solve it, which was kind of a surprise. It was actually more about Blue's character, as well as, of course, showing how the kingdom has changed, as it's underneath the thumb of the villain that can manipulate people just by talking to them. And I guess she did it through like their headphones and tech. She's like, your main goal now is to destroy all technology and overact at all costs. Because she's tearing down the kingdom. She's tearing down the kingdom based off of what it's built up of, which is not only, Yanma's legacy, but technology. And they tie that into the flashbacks with his retainer. And we see a little bit of his past when he was like, I think he's discovering like how to check counterfeit money back when the kingdom was like in the slums. And it shows like all of his retainers, especially the main one, used to be like part of this gang. And it is funny seeing them as like these street youths, street toughs, where they're all kind of badass, quote unquote. And then like now when they're with Yanma, they're all like cartoons. It's just, especially the retainer, like, to be fair, and especially in this episode too, he does get legit human character moments, and they have explored that bond a couple times in the series, but he does quite often get on my nerves with his Toku overacting, and it is just funny to see him acting like this more generic badass henchman character in the flashbacks, knowing that he becomes kind of an obnoxious cartoon in the future. It's just kind of funny, but we focus on that relationship and show how they all got together, where they were inspired by him basically being like, I'm gonna work my way up from 0 to 1 like a computer can. We're starting from the bottom, now we're here type of stuff. And like that ties right into the end of the episode where they're like, it's happened again, the kingdom has been torn down, we're starting from 0, but we can build ourselves back up. And I thought it was really nice, a really nice character episode for Yanma and his kingdom and just everything he's about. In a way, I felt like we weren't necessarily learning anything super vitally new. It felt like we were just enhancing what we already knew about Yanma in terms of his past and what his character is like, but it still made it a pretty good episode for his character, and I thought a good kind of lay of the groundwork for this conflict. And again, I'm really surprised it wasn't as cut and dry, because we still have a decent amount of episodes left, but we don't have all the time in the world, so I thought maybe we would spend an episode on liberating each kingdom or something. So I was surprised we didn't resolve it, and it was just kind of this main conflict, kind of setting up more of a backstory and stuff like that. But I like that. I did actually kind of like that. I'm just curious to see where it's going to go from here. But I did think it was really cool the way they thematically tied it to Yanma's whole drive of, picking himself up by his bootstraps type of deal, and they're going to have to do that again, and kind of showing you why people would follow him, and overall enhancing his character. And I think this is what I was hoping they were going to do, like I said, in that quote-unquote Season 2 premiere, was kind of focus on the character and the kingdom, kind of like we did in the very beginning of the series, which is why I was hoping they would do that, and I like that they did that here, because that's one thing I liked about the very beginning of the series, was how we took a snapshot look at each kingdom and each character. I still feel like the weird, unnecessary, like, falling out between the kings after the time jump was, well, unnecessary, because it just was solved, and like there's nothing ever came of that, so I'm still so curious about what the point of that was. So, because I was hoping like that focus, if they were going to focus on that in the Season 2 thingy, that we were going to focus on like how Yanma had changed in the time jump and why they had a falling out, whereas this was just like, again, reinforcing why Yanma is the way that he is and like why we like him. Like I said, we don't necessarily learn anything new, we just kind of enhance what we already knew about him. And if I remember right, there wasn't a mecha fight in this episode. I think the closest we got was Kimono's mech swinging out of the kingdom at the very beginning of the episode. But still a solid episode. I really do appreciate getting character-driven episodes like this that enhance the characters, because it enhanced Yanma and his retainer and his whole kingdom in general. And I like that it's not seeming to rush through this arc. I'm just really going to be curious how they pace this out, and like whether this status quo is the like overall final status quo for the series, or if there's going to be some more shakeups as we head into the rest of the series. But let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell to get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.